Alright, goobers, it's Khmer God. I'm struggling to get this video right, so I'm gonna jump through it. I don't want to ramble. This is a serious video. I'm gonna start off at the top of the list. This is not gonna be a moral argument. I don't want to grandstand. I'm an evil person. I eat people on Mars. That's my deal. I'm gonna try to come at this from facts that we all agree on, okay? Which are few and far between, apparently. I'd like to issue a general insult to the MAGA community and Trump. And by doing so, and my insult will be that, to put it as lightly as possible, I'm going to call them short-sighted. By doing that, this is my volunteering to go to the Gulag, because I've gone against the grain here. You know, now they're targeting cartels, but don't see why they couldn't target my Martian cannibal cult up in there. Up on Mars. They could target whoever they want. Flip-flopping. Yes, this is about the tariffs. Everyone loves to talk about the tariffs. I'm sick of hearing about it. You're sick of hearing about it. Hopefully. You know, we weren't hearing about it until Trump opened his gaping maw and started yapping. And now everyone's investments are doing cool. Trump is being very nice at the stock market. Yeah, so there's obviously everyone's pointing out, is it about manufacturing or is it about a negotiating tactic? You know, are they going to stay there forever to bring jobs back, or is it just a temporary agreement to get other countries to make better deals with us? You know, maybe those aren't mutually exclusive, but in some cases they are. Like Lesotho, which we'll get to in a bit. Are we gonna mine diamonds here? We don't have diamonds. Whatever, man. Okay, we seem to have settled on the whole tariff thing is about China. Trump gave us like 10 different reasons for tariffs. It started with like fentanyl, then like manufacturing. It's tiring. I can't remember, but we seem to have settled on China. This is all about China being mean to the global market, and we need to stand up to them and stop them, which I will grant I agree with completely. I think that IP theft is an issue, and I think that, well, I've heard for a long time that China is manipulating their currency. I don't doubt it. I don't know. We'll see. So if it's all about China, why are we tariffing the entire world? This is the argument I would like to make here. Does it not, or this is just the question I'd like to ask. Does it not make more sense for us to team up with our allies to take down the bad guy? You know, you could say maybe we don't have to. Maybe we're strong enough to take on the entire world at once. But do we have to? Why are we doing this? I feel like that's just harder than it needs to be. We've already seen Japan, South Korea, and China wanting to work towards some new trade deal. So we're pushing our allies closer to our enemies. That just does not seem effective to me. You know, if you want to take on Europe, if you think they're being mean, they're definitely not being as mean as China. I don't think anyone's claiming that. I hope. Is it really best to take them on now? You know, Europeans would rather do business with us than China. But if we're cutting ourselves completely out of the equation, we're kind of forcing our allies closer to our enemies. It doesn't seem very strategic to me. And I mean, I'm just a young idiot. Who knows? This is all going to be very funny in the future, I'm sure. China has minerals we need. And they've got rare earth. Everyone's talking about that sometimes. There is a country that also has rare earth that we're being best friends with. And they were our bro. We were their bro. We were supporting them. Ukraine. Look how that ended up. Ha ha ha. Zelensky's going to the Gulag. I'm not advocating for that. That's my prediction. And it's a joke. Another thing that I feel like just makes sense. Russia, Putin is belligerent. You know, he attacked Georgia. He attacked Ukraine. I don't know why he hasn't attacked Kazakhstan yet. I guess because his military sucks so much they can barely do anything. Belarus he probably won't have to attack. Their strategic interests are directly opposed to our strategic interests. Putin's vision for the future involves taking down the U.S., at least somewhat. I feel like we have to agree with that. Maybe we don't, but I feel like enough of the population will agree with that I can just whatever. Yes, so if a country that hates us is attacking a country that wants to be our friend, does it not make sense to support that country? We'll get to money in a second. When, say, we reach a good ceasefire, you know, we have the best military, we could do whatever we wanted, we could send them enough that Moscow could be a, what's the dang, oblast of Ukraine. Yeah, right, China, or Russia would probably nuke itself. But Ukraine doesn't really need to be on the back foot as much as they are. You can say, oh, so much money, it's so expensive, and there's so much fraud. Ukraine is just like a scheme to pay Zelensky. I mean, that's just a different set of facts that we're not agreeing with. I think that America, the American economy and military are so vastly superior to anyone else in the world, especially Russia, that I think this is really a chump change in the grand scheme of things. And I guess people against Ukraine don't see Russia as a threat after Ukraine. But I mean, zoom out, take a wider view of Russia's global ambitions or their strategic interests. You know, they're not friendly. They have not been friendly for a long time. More about fraud. We got fraud in the government. Fraud's going on everywhere in the United States. We got to get rid of it. Doge, Elon Musk, Doge is here to be poggers and make the government poggers. So that's awesome. That's happening. We're getting rid of so much fraud. No arrests have been made. You know, can we all agree that fraud is a crime and criminals should be punished? I guess no. We're just going to cut off the money and then not answer any more questions about who is profiting. if they're being charged with anything. So that's a really fun show, and I hope that the majority of people recognize that as just a show. These are just words from the Poggers guy, the Poggers Twitter guy. The least charismatic guy is the Poggers PR White House ghoul. Okay, yeah, I don't remember what this line was about. I wanted to say this is not a moral thing, this is moral. I think democracy is good. Can we all agree on that? You know, my slaves chose to interact with me. I didn't disappear people, you know. I invited some people up to Mars, they got stuck in a gulag. That was their choice. Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to escape at some point. But, you know, there are tariffs on Mars now. So all my space cruiser stuff is getting pretty expensive. I do believe that Trump is after me specifically. I don't remember if I teased this in the start of the video. But I have evidence in his first speech to Congress this term. Not the, I guess the inaugural address? No. It's the State of the Union, but they don't call it the State of the Union. Whatever it is. He said nobody cares about Lesotho, or nobody knows about Lesotho. Maybe you don't. I mean, that's kind of embarrassing. There are like 200 countries in the world. You should know them. I don't know. It is not hard to know 200 different things. We know like thousands and thousands of words. Maybe that's expecting too much. I mean, I don't know all the Micronesia and all those little Polynesian islands. I don't know those, but maybe I'm just a freak. Yeah, I've been working in Lesotho for a long time. It's an empire I set up. I've got a king there, and I'm kind of Elon Musking from behind the scenes, puppeteering Elon Musk. I've been working very hard to extract wealth from that little country, you know. And they're ruining it. You know, how am I gonna sell diamonds? I've been trying to sell diamonds. They're really ruining everything that we built since the end of World War II. I guess we'll hope that after the dust settles, something better is there. What's the likelihood of that? And on the way there, we're gonna push everyone towards China and away from us. That seems... Does that seem like a good plan to y'all? I mean, I'm simplifying. I don't know. I've got, at the end, work with allies against China. Can we agree with that? Does that sound like a good plan? Do you think... If we left NATO, which we were talking about a while ago, who do we have? Japan and South Korea are moving closer to China economically. We've got Argentina. Is it us and Argentina against the world? El Salvador? All right. That's about it. I'd really just like to make people upset with this. I hope maybe some constructive dialogue can occur in the comments. I'd like to hear what people are thinking. Because, I mean, all I do is I go, I read news articles, and then I scroll down and read the comments, and it's just the craziest of the crazy. I read more comments than I read the articles. So that's why I'm trying to use very, very basic facts here, because I don't want to... You can point fingers at me and be like, oh, that's not true, over anything, and I can't really argue with you, especially over the internet. I can't. I don't remember where I was going. I think I'm going to call it there. Y'all have a great rest of your evening or day or whenever you're watching this. Hopefully I'm here next time.